Hey, 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 hey. Hey!
Good afternoon, good evening, good night, or good morning, depending on where in the world you guys are watching this show.
It's a very special edition.
It is. Come on in a bit. Come on in a bit, Billy.
All right.
Here we go. Right, everybody should be able to hear us in the chat. We hope you can. So we have. Oh, that's way too far. And that's way too fast.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What happened there? That was interesting. You want to go back to the desk first before? And then Lisa's got us. There we go. Yeah. Right. So people are filing in. They are getting their desserts. They're just desserts.
Coffee. Yep.
And coffee.
Sounds quite harsh.
Yeah, I know. And they're taking the seats. So we are just to the right of the stage. And we originally were going to have. The people said they can hear us. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate that.
Okay.
There was originally. We're better. Originally there was going to be 4 panelists, but now they've upped it to 6 panelists, right? All from the Pioneer team.
Keep on adding.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, so the with the Pioneer team, you can ask them pretty much whatever you want. I mean, Zach, what we've done is we've added your question to the queue.
Is it to the queue?
To the QQ.
To the 260QQ.
The 260QQ.
It's all good.
Yes. So we hope you guys are going to stick with us, and if, like I say, if you do have any questions, anything, it doesn't matter, anything related to the balloon industry, we would really like to hear from you guys, and I know that the Pioneer team would really like to hear any kind of feedback, any kind of questions.
I think what they're here for. Yeah, we'll leave you with the holding picture, and we'll put some music on for you, but we'll be back to you very shortly once the room starts to fill out.
Yeah, once they actually finally get to sit down a bit with their cakes and coffees.
Yeah, them biscuits are looking nice. I think that's
I
really what
I was
we
just
need to
looking. I was stopped there as well because I thought there was sort of alcohol on the table, but it isn't. It isn't. No.
I seen a caramel cookie with my name on it.
The caramel cookie. We'll see if we can grab some of them bad lads. Yeah, it's really starting to fill up now. We were worried. We thought that it was going to be like you guys. You guys. We thought it was going to be like us and you guys at home, and then asking panel questions just from the chat. But the room's really starting to fill up now. We've got people in from all over the place from Pioneer. From I can see
Canada.
Yeah, that's right.
Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah. Canada.
Oh, Canada. Yeah.
And the bike's from Wichita.
Okay, we're gonna put you back onto a holding screen for the moment, but we will be back with you as soon as everybody gets sat down. Grab yourself a cuppa, and you can join in with us as well.
I got mine.
Yeah, I have a water bottle. Billy, where's your water bottle?
Oh,
Here's a mic.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll have to ask Mike.
It.
Right. Okay. I'm going to mute this microphone, and
See you
there
shortly.
we go. So our panelists are now taking the seats. And so what we're going to do is we're going to mute this particular microphone, but we've got different microphones around. Oh, I've just seen Treb Heining. I didn't realize that Treb was here.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's a nice pleasant surprise.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is I'm going to switch this microphone off. If you do have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we will do our best to put them to the panelists. But I'm going to switch off from here, switch onto the other mic.
Everyone. So, are you ready for a fun evening? All right. Okay. I'm Ted Vlamis, president of Pioneer Balloon Company, and welcome to all of you. All right, so this is going to be open session, open mic. We're not promising we'll answer every single question, but we'll address every single question. So, no, in all seriousness, no holds barred. Have at it. Our job is to make you as comfortable as we possibly can in asking questions and hopefully getting some good answers. We'll have a lot of things to talk about in terms of the evening and the week. We'll talk about very soon. I just want to take 1 second and introduce a very special guest that I didn't even know he was coming, but one of the real pioneers of the balloon decorating business, Treb Heining, is with us. Okay, in terms of what we're going to be doing tonight, we're open for all questions. Keith and Billy are going to be walking around with a mic, so please wait till you get a mic in front of you to ask your questions. And Dom is going to be streaming live, so you'll be on camera. We don't have a delay, but he's got a censor button just in case. So, for me. So let's have a fun evening and let's really share some good thoughts.
See, now he gave me the mic. He's in trouble already. Hi, I'm Betty Blamis, and I'm Executive Vice President of Pioneer. And you probably, I don't need applause for that. Woo! You probably wonder, what does she do? Well, let me tell you, I've done a little bit of everything here and there and whatnot over how many years now? Some 40? Is it 40 years? I think it's more than that.
More than 50 years.
Oh, well, yeah.
See, what I should have said is what my responsibilities are. I do what Betty tells me to do.
But you all know he doesn't always listen. So any case, a lot of the things I do really are more in the creative area, and I do a lot with colors, believe it or not, the balloon colors. So if you have questions about that, we're anxiously waiting to hear them, okay? And then I get involved in marketing and wherever somebody needs something. So anyway, welcome. It's so good to see you all. I know some of you were here for the welcome ceremony, whenever it was, a couple nights ago, but it's great, and you guys are doing such a phenomenal job. Yeah, wonderful. Oh, what a wonderful job. Here's to you.
Oh. Hi, thanks, Betty. My name's Tom Marsh, and I have the privilege of handling a couple of chores for Pioneer. Fairly new to the team from the inside, but spent a number of years supplying latex, so I've been privileged to know this group for about 4 decades. So I've known them for quite a while. But I handle Chief Technology Officer and the Global Head of Latex Operations. So I know already from being stopped on the meet and greet that there are several questions that you expect me to answer. So I'm happy to be here, and Ted so brilliantly put me right in the middle. So there's a target right here, and my good buddy Tim over here is going to deflect some of that. I'm going to turn it over to Tim.
So, good evening, everyone. I'm Tim Vlamis, and so I'm, yeah, right, sure. So right now in Pioneer, I'm working a little bit more on the back end, working with our partners in Japan on bubbles. And so if you have any questions on that, and also doing a lot with Tom and his team on the analytics of manufacturing. So we're trying to break it down as much as we can, and gather as much data as we can, and figure out what kind of insights can, because it's a, as you guys know, it's a real challenge these days with everything happening. So, but I also have been on your side. I've worked on, you know, the decorating side and whatnot, and probably have done it about 4 decades period. So helped start the QBN program a while back. So anyway, we really appreciate all of you. Yeah.
Hello, beautiful balloon people. My name is Marilyn Barandi. I've worked with the Pioneer family of companies for 36 years. I represent all the international delegates, who I extend a very warm welcome to, everyone who's traveled from outside the USA. Canada being my home turf, I'm the managing director for Pioneer Balloon in Hamilton, Ontario, where we manufacture Qualitex balloons. We host sales and distribution to the Canadian market. We serve our sister companies all over the Pioneer globe, as well as we serve some customers across the water. So we're very excited to be here. I'm thrilled to see that the whole balloon industry is coming together, and the enthusiasm on the floor today was just heartwarming. So thank you, and we look forward to a very, very good session of sharing information.
Hi, my name is Randy Smith, and I am the Director of Marketing for this event for Balloon Wonderland. Pretty much the easiest thing to say is I do whatever Cinder Perez tells me to do. So I think there's about 300 of us that are kind of in that same camp, so we're all together, guys.
Yay, Cindra!
Yeah, absolutely. 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 I'm going to actually jump into, before we turn it over and get to your questions, I'm going to jump into one topic that we want to address real quick. We're going to talk about a little 5-letter word named COVID, and just kind of talk about it. You know, first of all, let's talk the positive. It's so wonderful that after, almost 3 years now, we're able to meet like a large group like this, come together as a community, and have an event like this. It's so cool. It's so good to see everybody. So that's kind of the good news. The challenging part of COVID is it's still around. You guys all know it. It's in all of our communities. Wherever you're from, you go back to it. It's in our communities. We're in a hotel with 1,500 guests, so there's probably COVID around. You go into any of the theme parks, you've got COVID everywhere. We're living in this world of COVID. And when it comes down to an event like this, what we just like to ask is, you know, from our perspective, from Pioneer, we want everyone to have a healthy, safe experience. Okay, we want it to be fun, we want it to be inspirational, we want it to be educational, but above all, we want it to be safe. We want it to be fun, you know. And so, when it comes to COVID, you know, a couple of different things. We have to self-police, you know, and so that comes, you know, on all of our shoulders. We have to say, how are we feeling? And by the way, the laws, and especially like the laws in Florida, you can't force people to get vaccines. You can't force people to take tests. You know, there's so many things that you can't do because, you know, once again, the state of Florida says it's a personal responsibility and personal choice. So we have to live under those rules. And what we just ask is just, you know, for you to, once again, to keep this a fun, safe event for everybody, kind of monitor yourself. How are you feeling? You know, if you're having some sort of issues, please step aside. You know, talk to your team captain, and everyone's going to be fine with this. We're all in this together. We're a big family here. We want everyone to be healthy and safe, okay? So there's no issues, no embarrassment whatsoever if anyone's not feeling at their best, okay? The other thing, too, is on the other side is if you're just in a situation where you're feeling uncomfortable, where in a work environment, if you just need to step away, and even though you're feeling fine, you just say, I kind of need to step away because of just some concerns you've got, Fine to talk to your captain. Once again, we want everyone to have a fun, safe event. Okay? So thank you so much again. It's so wonderful to see everybody. Once again, it's been a challenging last few years for all of us. And so it's great to see everyone, and hope you have a great rest of the evening and a great rest of the show. Thanks, guys.
Well, thanks, fellow panelists. I might mention that there is one member that should have been here for the panel. That's Dan Flynn, our Chief Operating Officer, our COO. His plane was canceled. He was rerouted. He may be coming down the stairs anytime. He was due to arrive around 7 o'clock this evening, so we may see him before we're finished, but anyhow, at least Dan is here in spirit, if not in person. So, all right. We don't have any other opening comments to make. We really want to respond to you and give you the opportunity to get the kind of questions that are most important to you. So we'll open up the floor, and I'll direct the questions to some of the panelists, and let's go from there. Okay, who's got the first question? Okay, Billy?
What's up with the 260 blacks? Why are they so thin lately?
260 blacks, why are they so thin?
Okay. Tom. Very first time.
I like that, Ted. Let's just rip the bandage off right now. No, it's easy. Well, the best thing I can tell you is they're not supposed to be thin. Okay?
I know that.
That's right. They're not supposed to be thin. So honestly, there's no reason from the process side why they would be thinner. I was asked a question right before we started, actually, which had to do, I think, in the same topic. You know, why are there more defects? Why are there more? You know, it appears to be more defects. Mm-hmm. The process hasn't changed. You know, in terms of the machinery. And the one thing I'd like to step back and say is that I got here Saturday. So it's been great for me to see the process that you follow to build this wonderful village. You know, it's just amazing to me. It's very similar to what we do to build the balloon that you use. We've got a set process. And that's got a lot of moving parts with the equipment and things. But the question I was asked is, you know, is there less latex in the balloons? The process has not changed. So even when the supply was very tight for the raw material, we didn't alter the process for that. There have been some things that we've had a hard time getting because the things that we put in there, it's a lot like baking a cake. The ingredients we put in come from far and wide, you know, all points. Colors have been something that are impacted because if you're not aware, there are certain countries that control a lot of the colors that go into the other colors. And black happens to be one that's been impacted. So the materials available today aren't always the same. So we're trying to adjust for that as much as possible. And I think that's more what's causing the impact. But the machine is a set length. And the dwell, which is what gives you that wall thickness, the leach and the cure, that gives you the elasticity and the cleanliness, those don't change. We don't have the ability to lengthen the machine or shorten it. So I really think it's the impact of the different materials, and we're doing everything we can to shorten the supply chain and to limit any variation in those materials. So we are addressing it as we speak.
Tom, I know that black 260s have been a challenge for some time. Is there anything chemically that is different in terms of why one color may be easier than another color?
Yeah, there actually is, and it can, you know, Betty's actually a very good chemist. She just doesn't always show it. But what happens with the materials, with colors, and you forgive me because I have to make sure I don't get in the weeds too much on this stuff because it'll bore you, and we don't want to do that. We want you to have fun and get your answers. But inside of there, think of it as soap. And the different colors, they're actually very hard to incorporate into the natural latex. They contain things that the latex doesn't like. So we use things called surfactants or soaps. So think of it this way. The latex is surrounded by a bubble of water and soap. Whenever we put in a pigment, it's how fast it pops that bubble to form that film. So what Betty's referring to is some colors, and black is very hard on the latex. So that's why it's probably not as much of a new problem. It's an ongoing problem. And we are working, what we've done from a technical side is we're enlisting outside expertise in that there's a science actually on those surfactants. So that's what we're doing to try to fix that. And also when a supplier runs out of a particular color or a pigment, it's not that easy just to find another drop-in replacement. So we have to start to work with it. And just give you an idea, when we change anything in that color, we have to go through 3 stages of color matching. The first one's in the liquid stage, so the latex itself, and if you've not seen that, you can jump on YouTube, but it looks a lot like milk. Looks like a milkshake, you know, putting things in it. It's got to look right there. Then we have to make a balloon uninflated, and it has to look right there, and then we have to inflate it. Colors are. Ted told me that, and I love that name. That process takes weeks. So when we make a change like that, we do go through some periods where it's more difficult. So, but we are trying to address that as fast as we can.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Okay.
We have a question at the back, but also, guys, this is an informal chat as well, so if you do want to get up and grab a coffee or an extra biscuit or cookie or whatever, please feel free at any time, okay? Don't worry about it. You don't have to put your hand up for that, okay?
Those chocolate chip cookies are awesome.
My question is there any chance of ever bringing balloon images and balloon magic back to print? Because as a person in the industry that has collected those magazines, I never have time to go to the online version because I'm busy doing my job and social media, where when we had the magazines, it was easy to turn everything off, go into another room, and read them cover to cover and learn and educate ourselves right then and there, rather than having all the interruptions on the computer.
Thank you. Randy, you want to take that one?
Sure. You know, first of all, that's very good feedback, and it's definitely something that we'll always take into consideration. You know, it's funny, even just this past week, Betty and I and some of the team, we were talking about some of the different materials that we've done over time, like calendars and things like that we had gone digital, where we're saying now, you know what, maybe it makes sense to go back to print on some. It's a balancing act, guys. You know, it's you know, when you put things in print, it's obviously inventory, and so we want to try and be cost effective for all of us, for you know, everything we do, but we also want to be efficient in regards to be able to get you guys resources. So by going digital, we've been able to save so many of the articles and reuse them and repurpose it and get the information out to them. We're never going to want to get away from that, but it's also, but hearing this kind of feedback, it's always going to be something we're going to be looking at and just saying, okay, is there maybe a different way we could do it, and maybe there could be like maybe smaller, smart print runs we could do. So it's a balancing act. We want to try and be efficient with our resources, but we also want to be able to have, you know, in the digital age, there's so much more you can do when things are digital that you can get the information out and communicate. We don't want to go completely back to the way we used to be. So it's a balancing act. Great feedback, and I like. Literally just this past week, we were talking about some things that we're looking at and considering doing small, efficient print runs on. So thank you, and it's definitely something that we've got under consideration.
Thanks, Randy. We might also mention, I think we still have inventory of some of the old Balloon Magic issues. So
and images.
And of course, and images as well. So maybe we need to put online what is available that can be ordered. So let's do that. Good idea.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sure.
We have another question here.
Hello, Allison Dunning from Colorado. I have a question about colors. One of them is, what goes into your thought process of what sizes you choose to carry for each color is question one. And question two is, what happened to maroon? I'm sorry, but I need maroon.
I know.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to turn that over to the color czar, Betty.
Okay, couple things. First of all, you asked, how do we decide what sizes we're going to make and what colors? I wish I could tell you there was an absolute scientific way that we do that. One of the things we do look, and we try to look at, is how those colors are selling in other sizes. We try to collect information not only from people here in the U.S., but really from all of our international affiliates. So we're trying to take into consideration not only what one person wants in one area, but people want all over the globe. We don't always get it right. And sometimes we find that we think we're going to sell every size. Well, let me give you an example. When we came out with the 6-inch and the 12-inch Q-links, we said, okay, we've heard this enough times that everybody wants every size and every color. So that's what we did. I can also tell you that a couple of those colors we ran a lot of, and quite frankly, we still have inventory of, even though it's been several years. So we don't always get everything right. Other times, we probably underestimate how popular a color is going to be, and so what we sometimes do is then introduce another size after we find out how that color is selling. We'll almost always start with 11-inch because that's the color that's the size that people gravitate to first. And then we may go to the 5-inch, the 16, the 3-foot. We even make 9-inch, but we don't sell that many 9-inch like we used to. So if what we want more than anything else is your feedback and your understanding of what you really need. Maroon has been one of those colors that we looked at and we said, well, they're sparkling burgundy and they're maroon. And so which of those two colors, and there was pearl burgundy too, what of those colors, it seemed like a duplication, even though I know it wasn't a duplication because one's a jewel and the other's fashion tone. But we chose and we looked at the sales and we were selling actually more of sparkling burgundy at the time than we were maroon. One of the things we're looking at now is a whole different way of looking at how we decide how we're going to schedule colors. And believe it or not, but one of the things we said was, and this was last week even, there's some colors that maybe we should not have discontinued. We may not sell as much of them as we do some other colors, but they're still important to you and they're important to other people. And we are looking now and coming up with a program where you can get more colors. Now, you may not get that color exactly like a last-minute order, but we've got to work with distributors and with our affiliates to make sure that we provide as many colors as possible to what you want within the limitations of what we can do.
Let me add to that, Betty, if I may. What we're talking about is a system that is a bit different and addresses exactly what you're looking for. We may say we'll run, I don't know, teal. I don't know if teal is a very popular color or not, but let's say it's a color that is a very slow mover. Maybe we'll run that color once or twice a year, and we'll get the word out and say, okay, we're going to run teal in November. We're going to find out what the demand is. We'll run it sufficient to meet the demand, and then you will know that color is not going to repeat again till whether it's 6 months or 12 months later. That way we can control the inventory far better, also be responsive to what it is that you need. All that's in the works right now.
Thank you, Billy. Hi, my name is Mandana Mushrafzadeh from Minnesota. So piggybacking on the maroon, burgundy, sparkling, a lot of these collegiate, colors, the navy, the maroon, we need them in all sizes because nowadays everybody and their uncle wants organic. So you need the 3-footer, you need a 16-inch. You know how many places I've called 16-inch navy, 16-inch maroon. 11-inch is fine, you can find that, but we need the 16-inch. I don't know why we're not making more 16-inch. So, literally 80% of the things that I call my distributor for, they're like out of stock, discontinued, out of stock, discontinued. So it's, I'm trying to buy your product, I'm trying to sell your product and make a living, and it's very difficult. And so then I have to use 11-inch and 5-inch and, fudge it and make it 3-footer or smaller, that kind of stuff. Or go to another let's not talk about that. But we won't mention any other people. But, when the client wants, navy 16-inch and, especially summertime outside, I don't use 11-inch. I use 16-inch and under inflate because I don't want my navy popping. I wanted to give them a good product, a good result. So please, 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 we would love to have, these, especially collegiate colors or whatever colors are more, popular that year or the year, whatever the projections are, in all these different sizes because everybody wants organic and we need the different sizes. 9-inch, never use 9-inch because we just take 11-inch and size it under. Just get rid of 9-inch, in my opinion. I never buy 9-inch.
I think you're right on. We're in a fashion industry. We're in essentially a changing industry. Several years ago, organic didn't exist. It does today, and it's big. And it changes what we have to do, and we've just got to be able to keep up with that. And as you said, 9-inch, when we got in the balloon business, we had distributors that said, why should I carry 11? Everybody buys 9-inch. Now, one other thing, we have what we call the fashion tones. The reason they were named fashion tones is because sometimes those colors are in fashion and sometimes they're out of fashion. What also helps us is knowing that there's some colors that perhaps are out of fashion, and that's what Ted was talking about too. We may be able to run some of those, but we may run them very infrequently, but let everybody know what we're going to do and when. So we appreciate the feedback. That's one of this is where I get my information very much in terms of really what satisfies and what your needs are. So thank you.
Okay, so let me just add one other thing, or two other things. One is the fastest way to bring a color back is to discontinue it. So we time and time again, we decided to discontinue a color because the demand is very low. As soon as we discontinue it, all of a sudden, demand goes sky high. The second thing is, and this is a bit more technical, and keep in mind, when we run an 11-inch product, we're running a line of 11-inch forms. And remember, it takes us over 1 hour to make one balloon. That's how long it takes for the entire process. So we have a line that's got 11-inch forms on it. If it's got a maroon on it, but you want 260s in maroon, that's a whole different line. And so it isn't just a matter of saying, hey, you got the color, why don't you do a different size? It's a whole other production process to do 260s. In some cases, it's a different plant. We have two Qualitex plants, Dallas, Texas, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Not both plants make every single same product, not every color. So it gets more complicated than just saying, why can't we have 260s in that color? because 260s primarily are made in Hamilton, whereas the 11s are made both in Hamilton and in Dallas, but again, primarily in Dallas. So there's some technical issues that I understand is not your concern, but from our perspective, that's the kind of thing we have to wrestle with and say, okay, how can we do every color in every size?
Okay, I think we have an online question. We'll just pop that on there. Oh, I'm going to have to go closer than that. I don't have my glasses on. Here we go. We've got a question from what looks like Fozzie Bear. It must be Zach. Hello, thanks for hosting this. We were wondering how many balloons are made in 1 minute and what is the most popular twisting balloon color?
The answer is no balloon is made in 1 minute.
And I was going to say the most popular color is always, does everybody know white?
Again, in all seriousness, we make a lot of balloons with a lot of different colors. You know, right now in 11-inch, we're probably 75 to 80 colors, and it takes us, remember, an hour to make one balloon. Okay, so we got to cycle lots of things. Obviously, we're making many at a time, and so. In 1 minute, there are a lot of balloons coming out. We'll produce Qualitex balloons, something in the neighborhood of about 1 million balloons a day. And so if you want to divide that by the number of minutes, I'll give you the answer. I'm pretty fast on math, but not quite that fast. So.
I have another question back here.
Hi. As balloon twisters and decorators, about how much, like what percentage of your sales do we make up in comparison to like grocery stores and everyone else?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that, Billy.
What percentage is the professional market of decorators and twisters
versus retail?
The supermarket and the mass market?
Okay. Randy, you want to take that one again?
Let's see. Well, so it depends how we want to answer this.
Closer to the mic, Randy.
Can you hear me?
No, closer.
Hello? Can you hear?
Switch mics.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, thanks. So I'm going to kind of look at Ted as I answer this because Ted, oftentimes you go to Ted and you ask him a question and he says, well, it all depends. And believe me, that's a very satisfactory answer that whenever Ted hits you up with that. But what we do is we produce different balloon brands. And so it depends if you're talking about Qualitex, what percent goes to the decorators. Well, Qualitex is obviously our flagship brand. It's our best brand. There's a reason we call it the very best balloon, because it is. It's the formulation, everything we do, it's the very best, okay? So the Qualitex brand balloon, when you talk about where it's at in the marketplace, the highest concentration of that is in the professional market. I mean, and so that goes decorators, entertainers, et cetera. That's really the heart of our Qualitex business. And when I'm saying that too, when I'm saying professional, I'm also talking the florists, and so the floral industry, and then with that, you'll get into grocery floral, you're talking Qualitex, okay? When you start talking some of the other places, when you start talking mass, we don't put our Qualitex balloon there. We put a different brand. We've got Funsational, and then we also do some brands that are private label, different formulation, and they are not the same level of quality balloon product that Qualitex is. So it kind of depends how you're asking that, but if you're specifically talking Qualitex, the vast majority of Qualitex sales are all in the professional market. Florists, entertainers, decorators. So is that the kind of the spirit of how you're asking it?
So, let me ask Mary Lynn to address it also, because it's different in different markets and different countries. So, Mary Lynn, what do you see in your area relative to that same kind of question?
So in Canada, it's a little bit different because our supermarkets do not sell helium-inflated latex balloons. So our supermarkets in Canada only sell helium-inflated foil balloons. They will sell package balloons, and as Randy pointed out, is that would be a sensational product, which we would consider a second-tier product. We don't primarily see Qualitex in the mass. When you look at the mass department stores in Canada, again, latex balloons are not inflated with helium, only foil if they do any inflation. So latex balloons are sold in packages. So our effort and our sales, when I look at Canada and I look at many other international countries that Pioneer is supporting around the world, 80% of our business goes into this family of people right here. It's the entrepreneurial person that is using balloons in floral arrangements, in decorating, in special events, in corporate events, in party store business. That's the crux of our business, is really this group, this family right here.
Thanks, Mary Lynn. Gabe.
Okay, we got another question from Mr. Anthony Lena.
Well, first of all, thank you all for putting this great event on. We really appreciate you being here. I'm having a blast. I'm sure everybody is. And thanks for allowing us to have product for this event, right? Yeah. So I know you probably had to make a few changes there, so thank you. So I have two questions, if you don't mind. First question is pretty simple. I know you all really pushed the double stuffing to get custom colors, which is great. But I was wondering, have you ever thought of just doing a one balloon pastel line, even in like 11-inch or rounds only, no twisting balloons? Twisting balloons would obviously be great, but it, you know, just ever thought about that? So that's question one. Question two is, I'm primarily a twister. I do a lot more decorating than ever before, especially since COVID. I've really gotten involved in that quite heavily. But Larox is my main provider and or distributor, and they are really big on the special prints, like custom prints from twisters and things like that. I know Jackie Achichwa, she has her awesome, you know, doll face balloons, which do very well. So I'm wondering, I know Larox has done my custom baby face, one side crying, one side happy, and 5-inch blush, non-quick link, just regular round. And they're like, yeah, we would love to, you know, carry your custom print, but things are complicated. That's the answer I get. Things are complicated. So I'm wondering if that is a possibility to have more, maybe a special run on the custom prints, you know, or, you know, for, you know, a specific artist that designs it. So those are my two questions. Thank you.
Thank you. The first question was simple. Tell me again the first question.
Pastel assortment.
Oh, pastel assortment. Betty handled that one, and I'll pass the second question on.
Okay, it's my fault. You can look at me and say, yeah. I think when pastels came out, we probably didn't realize how popular they were going to be. They came out and they were, you know, they were called macaroon, they were called different things, but it was all pastel. I don't know whether, I'm funny. I guess sometimes, I hate to say, I don't like to be a me too. I always feel that when competitors come out with certain colors and I know they're popular, we try to do something a little bit different than that. And maybe that's not right, but that's just, and it doesn't always work that way. So when we first heard about pastels, we thought, we didn't think we were going to come out with another one. The other thing is the more colors we have, right now, there are colors that we haven't run for a year. And those are some things you're having. And every time we introduce another new color or another new line of colors, it makes it a little bit more complex, right, complicated to get the colors that you need all the time run in sufficient quantities. So there are balances and there are trade-offs. I think that's one of the reasons we looked at double stuffing as saying, here's a solution. It may not be the best solution, it may not be the solution you want, and certainly for 260s, it's not. So I think that maybe by looking at this new program the way we're looking at it right now, may give us some options that we haven't had before. And we recognize that, you know, things have changed. The last 3 years, the last time we were all together, was a very different marketplace than it is today. And so Pioneer is really trying to adapt and find different ways to give you the things that you need, because we can't do things like we've always done them. It's not going to work. Things have changed, and we've got to change with them. So we're trying to come up with a way to get you what you need, and the only way we're going to do that is work together. So thank you.
Hey, Betty, if I could just jump in 1 second. One thing I'd like to say, too, is about the double stuffing, and I totally hear you about maybe the ease of going to the one color, but the double stuffing, I mean, it came from you guys. And what we put back there in regards to a lot of our education and inspiration and marketing materials is a reflection of the creativity that you guys brought to the table, and some really cool stuff that we're just coming back and just showing. You guys show us, how cool it is, and we just come back and go, we want to show the rest of a broader audience of it. So it's absolutely a factor of what Betty was talking about, issues that we've got going on, but it's also a huge issue or a factor of the creativity, and it's a reflection of the really cool stuff you guys are in the market every day putting together. So thank you for it's your output that we're just reflecting back to you.
Good comment, Randy. I want to add one other thing, and that is, with COVID, we were shut down in our plans for 10 weeks. We've been trying to come back up to full capacity. We talked about this earlier on maybe some of the broadcasts and so forth. Our biggest difficulty right now is getting sufficient employees to man the lines and show up every day. We've converted to 24/7 at both Qualitex plants, but the difficulty is having employees that come in every day to run the lines, because Dallas has 6 lines, and I'd love to tell you that all 6 lines run every day. They don't. Not because we don't want them to run, it's because we don't have people to run them, and so forth. Now, there's also one other thing that we may have made a strategic mistake. In trying to come back and fulfill the demand that's growing from all of you, we said, what, we really ought to concentrate on the primary colors that everybody wants, obviously white, red, yellow. I'm not sure in retrospect that was the right strategy, that maybe we should have run the broader line of colors and maybe not have as much white, even though you still don't have enough white. I understand that. But maybe we should have maintained a broader line. And that's just a recent kind of thought process that we're going through, that, maybe we got to rethink what does the marketplace need rather than us thinking what it is you might need. So I'll repeat what Betty said. The best thing we can get is feedback from you, because that drives us. That gives us the strategy going forward. So some of these things are in flux.
Back here as well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Stuart Gutter from St.
Wait a
Cloud,
minute. There was a second.
Custom.
Oh, well, I'm going to take that one because that's one of my favorite subjects. The custom area is totally unexplored and unused. That's our fault for not being able to be communicative enough with you to understand what we can and can't do. We have incredible capabilities. We have incredible ways to be able to respond, and we have not done a sufficient job of communication to let you know how easy or what some of the constraints are relative to the custom process. That is also under review, because I think from an industry perspective, we're just scratching the surface, gang. I know you got a lot of demand out there right now, but it's nothing compared to what it can be. And the custom area is one that is a huge opportunity for every single one of your individual businesses. And I would say that the opportunity to do small run custom foils is an area that is a huge moneymaker for every single one of you. And shame on us for not being able to communicate well enough to you what the capabilities are. You'll be hearing a lot more about that very, very soon. We can do both latex and we can do foil now. And yeah, is it going to cost you more? The answer is yes. But you know what? What can you do with it? That's the key. Not everything is the same cost. If we run a color, excuse me, if we run a design on the lines in which we print latex, and we print 5,000 pieces, that's not a bad run. Okay, we can have a certain price. But if you only want 500, that's a very different cost, because you have setup costs of the machine, you have scrap. By that meaning, what does it take to make sure we have the color set up right and running properly? So all of those things. So it can't be the very same price. But if we can have a differential that covers our cost to do that, then in turn you look at it in terms of what does it give you to be able to present something unique to your own customers. And that's what we're going to be working on very soon. So, okay, I think Billy's going.
Hi, Stuart Gutter from St. Cloud, Florida. My question is in regards to licensing. Why don't we see more licensing balloons, like from the sports teams, the college teams, the NFL, the soccer teams? These are all balloons that probably would sell very well.
Okay, Randy, you're on again.
There you go. It's a great question. Licensing is a very, very complex, challenging topic. In regards to licensing sports teams in particular, you're dealing with a lot of licenses. I've worked in the licensing business for 30 plus years, and it's complex. There are contracts in place right now with some other balloon companies that have been out there for a while. It's very, very difficult to take those away without significant volumes. So it's a complex thing. And I have to tell you too, the licensing business in total is really changed over the last few years. I'm not sure, like how close all of you are to licensing, but in just the past 10 years, if you go back, and I know we're talking sports teams now, but I mean, if you're talking, like Disney, those kinds of things, things that forever were very, very strong in licensing, they're not anymore today. And the reason being is there are just so many niche opportunities with people that, when you start getting into, the streaming services and things like that, people have more interest now. They're so more diverse that they can get their hands on than they could 20 years ago. So when you start talking sports teams, I mean, it's like, oh, okay, well, are you talking NASCAR? Are you talking Formula One? Are you talking Indy? Even just like when you talk race cars, there's all kinds of licenses. Which is the right one to get into? And it's a very, very complex topic, and it's one that, quite honestly, we're even right now struggling with trying to figure out the right way to work a licensing program that's advantageous to us. So I don't have a great answer for you because it's changing very, very quickly, and it's one where it's, like I said, 10 years ago, it was much easier to identify a license portfolio and just go, I know this is going to work. Now, it's so much more diverse out there. It's so much more complicated. It's very difficult to quite frankly, make money off of licensing. Like Ted talks about, every contract that we put out there, we're having to put money out up front to say we're going to deliver sales against these contracts. And so like Ted's example he used a few minutes ago, well, it's one thing if we can go to a licensor and say, hey, we can run 50,000 of this particular thing. Well, it's a lot different if we can only do 500. And so getting the niche business in licensing is hard. It's really, really, really hard. So we're being very positive here. I've done licensing a long time. I'm a fan of licensing. We were always going to try and figure out a way to make it work. It's just a very, very difficult business model right now that we're trying to relook at and figure out what's the best approach. And sports licensing is as complex as it gets. So I'm not giving you a complete answer because we don't have one right now, but it's definitely one that we're continuing to try and figure out what's the best way to approach licensing. So I apologize for the incomplete answer, but it's very, very complex, and it's changed so much in just the last few years.
Can I add on that comment as well? I'm going to go back to what Anthony was talking about. The opportunity for your local sports teams, whether it's your own local college or your local high school, your local soccer teams, your local play yard teams and so forth, that's your opportunity to use the custom programs of small quantities that could be very, very attractive. That'll be coming soon. So.
Good evening. Carrie here from Hamilton, Ontario. And I would like to thank my Pioneer team, including the United States, because you founded this. It has been such a wonderful journey, and I plan on staying in this program for years. I also want to mention to you, Betty, about the maroon and the sparkling burgundy. Both have been discontinued, and unfortunately, or that's what I've been told, we have the universities, we have the colleges with those colors, and here in the States, they have like huge universal Harry Potter, so it might be one you might want to think about coming back. The other thing I wanted to mention was I'm looking at how do I get a super shape, a jumbo foil balloon that says happy retirement.
Oh.
Okay, because what I'm looking for is I'm seeing a lot of my generation starting to retire. And I'm worried that you're going to bring it out in 15 years when it's already retired. So I kind of like to have it soon. The other thing
You're talking to the right people on that subject.
Okay.
Look at the age of us.
And the other thing I'm noticing. The other thing I'm noticing is I'd like to see a gender neutral baby with just a white diaper on. That would be very popular, in my opinion. I may be totally wrong, but I'm thinking that might be a good idea, and a super shape. The other thing I'm having problems with is foils. Foils are not blowing up correctly. They are heat sealed in certain sections. I don't know if maybe they're getting packaged too fast while they're still hot. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Betty.
Okay. I hear you. You want, let me just repeat. You'd like to see in other words, a big happy retirement in foil. Okay? Number 2, you'd like baby balloons that are gender neutral. In other words, a line of baby products that is not blue and is not pink. Okay? You want me to tell you something? We've got people here in this audience that watch trends. That's one of the trends they've already picked up, and I already know what's in the works.
Sparkling burgundy.
Yeah, and I hear about sparkling burgundy and maroon. We have not discontinued sparkling burgundy. What I do understand, it wasn't run for some time. So it's not been discontinued. And the other thing is, yes, maroon is under consideration for bringing it back. I said, remember now, I said under consideration. Because you want me to tell you who's going to determine? The people that are going to determine what colors we run and what colors we don't run is you. So if you're out there and you need certain things and you pass that on to your distributors and they know it and they have a chance to order it, we're going to say, distributors, here's your chance to order this color. We may run it twice a year, we may run it once a year, we may keep it in stock all the time, okay? Different ways. But if that distributor knows you're going to buy it and they order it, then you'll have it. If you decide, and there are not a lot of people that say, I really don't need that color, I need this color instead, then that's what we're going to do.
The other thing you guys can do that'll help us is give us a reference point for how much you'll buy of something. So don't say, I'll buy a ton of it. It's like, great, you know, because, so what, yeah, what does that mean? If you can say, I'll buy about half as much as I buy red.
Right.
Or I'll buy the same amount as Cocoa Brown. And, you know, something like that, whatever. That gives us a sense of what the potential volume is, as opposed to I'll buy a lot. And so that's all. Yep.
Cindra, don't we have a site that people can get their thoughts in?
Hey guys,
without necessarily having to go back to a distributor, where you can collect them more directly.
Enjoying the panel questions at the moment. We're going to try and get your questions across as well, but there's a lot of questions in the room. We're doing our best. Thanks.
There are multiple sites. Most of them are related to our social media accounts. So if you aren't hooked up already or know of Qualitex.com, come see me and I'll hook you up.
Very good. Thank you.
I got one over here and then back. I'm running.
So we've got a couple questions at this table, but I'm going to start with 24-inch. You guys used to have the most amazing 24-inch. It was perfectly round. It was perfect, and it's gone. Is there any thoughts of bringing back 24-inch?
Well, there's two parts to that question. One is, I'm going to answer that one because that was one of my projects. I asked the operations group, I want the largest Qualitex shape balloon that you can give me with the existing equipment. We have two primary lengths of forms that we deal with. Obviously, 11-inch, 5-inch, so forth are the smaller tanks. When we go to 260s, 350s, and so forth, we have what we call a deep dip tank. The 24-inch required deep dip capability. It was a beautiful balloon, but frankly, you didn't buy enough of them to keep it in line.
Wait, I think Ted was ahead of his time.
So now, I'd love to tell you that we still have those forms. I will tell you we still have them, but they're a different shape. So that's one that we'll relook again. If there's enough demand, we'll certainly take a look at that again.
Question for the foils? No, later. I'm gonna ask. That was a different answer. Whose question for the foils? Aries. And I have a few questions after he.
It was
the
about
foils who are heat sealed, like they have no nozzle, no opening, no way to actually inflate them. They're all defected.
They're blocked.
They're blocked. The nozzle where.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
They've been like
You're
this.
talking about the foils that are blocked.
Oh.
Yes, we've been getting a lot of those.
Are you talking about the shapes as opposed to rounds? Or are you talking about
Foils, Mylar.
just foil in general?
Yes.
Well, the foil film comes in very, very long rolls. We don't make the foil film. We have a couple different suppliers for foil film. It is made in very, very large equipment. A line for making the foil film is maybe 2 times as much as long as this room is. So you've got a lot of technical process to make it exact. And we're talking something that is very, very tiny. By that meaning the total thickness of the foil film is about 1 mil thick, which is very, very thin. So the ability to do that is very complex type of equipment. On top of it, part of the process and the ingredients going into it is a release ingredient so that when you're putting it on a big roll of film, that it doesn't stick together. And that again is put in microscopic amounts on the film. And so what happens sometimes is you don't get the protective release between the film. When we make a foil balloon, we actually have two films that go together in the machine, a top and a bottom, and then we'll put heat on it to create the shape, whether if it's a round or a shape or whatever it happens to be. And that heat going down into the film is going to do two things. One, it's going to melt the polyethylene that's on that film because that's the glue that is on the film. So you got polyethylene on the top film, polyethylene on the bottom film. And when we put them together and we put heat on it, we have now one layer of polyethylene because they stick together, become one layer. So, but that heat can move into the interior of the balloon if there isn't enough release agent in that process. Now we test, it depends upon the line, it depends upon the shape that we're making. We'll test about every hour, and in some cases we're testing far more frequently than that to actually look for situations like that. But when you're running by the thousands, and instead we can't do regular testing like we do in latex balloons. If we inflate the latex balloons as part of the testing process, they're all good. We shrink them back into shape and they're regular good balloons. You can't do that with a foil balloon because you've got a valve in it, and we can't we just can't get all the air out and make it a saleable balloon. So you're talking about a destructive process when you're doing your quality control on that line. So we try to minimize that. I would love to see the samples, or if anything else, if you can get us the code. If we get the code, then we can search back to find out what the process conditions were. I know that's not a complete answer, but that's one of those in the process of making a product that you have to decide just how deep you go into the control process. And some of it, frankly, in a film is not under our control. When we talk latex, that is our control, because we're one of the most vertically integrated companies in the world relative to making product. So we do all our own work. We take the raw latex. Yes, we buy pigments, but we do a lot of our own dispersions, which means that the preparing of the color to go into the product. We do all compounding, which means we're preparing that latex in order to be able to make a balloon. And then we manufacture all our own equipment. We don't buy equipment from anyone relative to making balloons. Sure, we may buy a conveyor, but the process of making a Qualitex balloon, we design and build all that ourselves in-house. So that's our control. In the film side, that's not our control, and we'll work better to try to minimize those situations.
Hello. I have two questions. One is about the chrome balloon, because
One is about the chrome.
The chrome balloons that we can only find two sizes, 5 and 11, and 7 inch, yes, 3, and nothing else after that.
Okay,
no,
thank you.
7
That's
and
a very
11,
good-
yes.
That's a very good question.
And not 16 and nothing else. And we have very high demand on different sizes for chromes. And the gold chrome is gone. We haven't found anything around with our distributors for a long time. So what happened with the gold chrome? And also one more question, the deco bubbles, the neck is very short, and we want to know if you are able to make it a little longer to do more decoration and stuffing with the bubble deco.
Okay, Mary Lynn, since you run the plant making the chrome balloons, take that one on.
Congrats.
Sitting duck here. Does this mic work? Can you hear me? So in Hamilton, we do make currently the 7-inch. We manufacture the 7-inch and 11-inch chrome. We would love to come out with more sizes and more colors on chrome. The obvious challenge is the fact that we're not keeping up with the existing colors and sizes. And I just have to be totally honest with you people. It is really people. We have, Tom Marsh joining Pioneer Balloon, who's done incredible work. I can speak for our facility. He's done incredible work leading our teams with chemical control, mechanical control, and process control. But without people to run our plants, it's very difficult for us to keep up with what's already scheduled. So I love chrome. I believe I'm home of the chrome, and I would love nothing more than to come to this marketplace with more chrome balloons. Ted probably mentions it to me in every conversation we have. What are we doing to get on top of this? And it's no different than what we all faced getting here on airplanes. There are transportation issues because of chrome. Because of people, not because of chrome. Sorry, Freudian slip there. Because of people, and we're suffering in Hamilton. We're very much a city of labor, so we're in exactly the right place to be manufacturing balloons. But what has happened, and I'm not blaming the virus, I'm just blaming the reality of what we're all living with. You're all business people, you're running businesses, you have employees, you understand the challenges we're all facing with people. We are hiring people every day to get our line staffed, like Ted says, 24/7. Our plant does not shut down. But are we running all our lines every day? No, we're not. And it hurts us. It hurts our people. We have fabulous people in all our plants. We have great long-term employees in all our plants, but it's getting that new generation to come to work and want to make balloons. That's the challenge we have. So as soon as I have that answer, then I'm sure all our lives will be easier.
Yeah. I'll add on top of it, and I know that I'm get in trouble with the rest of the panel here, but we've had something in the wings on chrome that will blow you away that we cannot address because we've got to get the process stable enough to meet the demand you already have for just the 7-inch and the 11-inch.
You want me to address the deco bubbles?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. So, it's an excellent question, and thanks for bringing that up because we are hyper focused on it, and at the same time, as you guys know, we've been working to make more bubbles. There has been a change in the film, and it's something that we're working very, very hard on, and the clarity issue. It has to do, it's a very, very unique film. It has characteristics that are not like any other film. Some of the raw materials that went into it, quite frankly, have not been available. And so we're working with the manufacturers of that raw material in Japan to figure out what can we do. There's been a lot of testing that's going on. You guys should know that we are making bubbles in the U.S. and in Japan now. So we are expanding capacity. It's a very important part of our line, and it's something we're working really, really hard on.
And Tim, let me add to that as well, to say that the opportunity in deco bubbles for every single one of you is huge.
Yeah.
You have no idea. Do we have anybody here from England? How did I know that answer? The use of deco bubbles in Europe is multiples of the use of deco bubbles in Canada, U.S., Mexico, South America combined. they've learned how to use deco bubbles. Okay, you want to add that? Go ahead.
No. I just said Brazil also uses a lot of deco bubbles.
She always whispers in my ear to tell me when I'm wrong. But there is opportunity to use deco bubbles, which will create a whole different wow factor. They've learned how to do that in England in particular, and even on the continent. And really, there's a lot that you should ask Keith and Dom what they're doing with that, because it is a tremendous opportunity, and we have some capability in deco bubbles that could be supplied relatively quickly. There's a question. I'm sorry.
First of all, we've got, I believe there's a very quick online question. And then I dare not move away from this position without getting jumped. So, Dom, can you bring that one up? There we go. Ted and Betty, will you participate in Balloon Taskmaster on Q Corner? That's what the guys want.
Well, if you tell me what Taskmaster is, I might be able to answer.
It's Balloon Taskmaster. It's where we have a taskmaster based in New Zealand, Pippity Pop, and she challenges balloon artists every month with a task. This month is movie scenes. Last one was food, then we did floaties. So basically you have to do things with balloons to a theme.
I would be happy to assign tasks to any taskmaster.
Okay, thank you, and thanks, Q Corner. Right, okay.
Hi, my name is Renee. I'm from New York, Aviator Balloons. I think to piggyback on what you just said, there is a lot of geographic-based type artistry going on. In New York, we don't have as many storefronts, right? We operate capacity businesses where we do anywhere from 5 to 17 garlands in one weekend. So the demand for bubbles is very similar to what we see in Australia, where we add them into our organic decor and not so much as a table centerpiece or a single piece that we sell from a storefront. So maybe that's one of the reasons you don't see it so much from the Northeasterners or the ones in the United States, because we do follow like Fashion Week trends, celebrity trends, TikTok trends, right, what the celebrity wants, because those are our clientele. So for me, I include bubbles in designs that are very soft and airy. That's how we see bubbles. Not so much to double stuff them or to put other 5-inch balloons in them to create, you know, a centerpiece that's on a table by itself. But it's to use maybe 20 of them, you know, in one piece just to add that airiness.
So one of the things we're contemplating, I always want to ask you guys, should we come out with bulk package of deco bubbles so they're not single? They should be more like a 10-pack. Yes, yeah, okay. So they say yes to, so say, what is it? A size variety pack? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And that also mimics how we add that variation in our organic composition.
Okay.
Right? So it, you know.
All right, I see Nadia had. Thank you. That's helpful.
Okay, this is the last time I'm going to talk. This is Allison from Colorado. So I consider myself a balloon artist. I think a lot of people do, but I look at balloons as my palette and how I design. And I hear from you guys, you're like, okay, so how many balloons are you going to buy from us? Well, when I'm designing something for my client, I don't know what shape or what size or what color until I'm designing it. And I've now just designed this amazing thing for my client, and I go to my distributors, and this is pre-COVID, I'm just gonna say pre-COVID, I would go to my distributors and they, oh, we don't carry that balloon. They don't even make that anymore. I'm like, what? Because now I've done all this work to design this thing and I can't get the product anymore. So I hear you guys asking us to say, we'll buy balloons. We'll guarantee you I'm gonna buy balloons. However, I feel there's a disconnect of communication to me directly, and this might be true for other people, that I don't know what's not being offered. I find out about it like in a shocking, disturbing way. And I'm sorry, it's true.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a better streamline ability to know, because I depend on your product
Right.
to make my life and feed my children. So I want to say I hear you, but at the same time, I want you to understand where I'm coming from, that I don't know what I need until I need it, and then I need it.
Right. Understood. Yeah.
Hold just 1 second. Well, go ahead, Tim.
Sorry. In my day job, so to speak, one of my manufacturers that I work with all the time, they produce a daily inventory sheet. So I can look, and before I start to draw what I'm drawing, I have an idea. There's none of these, period. So don't even look that direction. But they have this, this, and this in good quantities, and then I make my decisions based on the inventory.
We understand what you're saying. In today's world of computers and interrelationships, there's a lot that we have to move forward on. Just like each one of you have individual businesses, and you're not set up to really communicate technically from one business to the next. It's no different with our distributor system. Their own systems are different. What we've got to establish is the ability to be able to communicate seamlessly with all of them. Hopefully that's coming, because the platforms are there that can happen. We just have to be more aggressive in being able to do that. We understand what you need, and we're not opposed to being able to supply it, but we got to have the channels through which that communication can happen. And frankly, we don't have those channels established as yet. You're right, it's needed. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dolly. I'm from New York, New Jersey area. I'm relatively new to the industry, but I do have a question. I know that feedback was brought up earlier. Just wondering if you've ever thought, or have you hosted a focus group or identified maybe an innovation team or a study where you can get actual feedback? And I understand that there are some websites or some links that we could access, but what is the follow-up with that feedback? Like, what's the process? How are you then following up on that? My second question is, what are Pioneer and Qualitex plans to show up for the community in a more proactive way? I think I've seen some well-established brands, but also newly established brands who have really strategically, I think, positioned themselves in a way that they could support the community by offering sponsorships, social media opportunities, and so on and so forth. And we haven't really seen that support for small business owners like myself or young entrepreneurs through Qualitex. So what are the plans, or have you thought about doing that? And then also, what's the marketing strategy? Sorry. The marketing strategy being used, especially in a social media era where you have this thing called influencers and all these different things. What is Qualitex and Pioneer planning to do? Sorry.
Thank you. Bye. Randy, can you address that?
Yeah. So I'm not sure I captured everything, so I might have to come back and ask a couple things. First of all, I'm probably in reverse order. Talking about influencers. Influencers are hugely important and are growing importance to us. In fact, sitting at the table next to you, Bree Johnson she actually deals with trends and influencers, and has actually developed a great relationship with, has a whole contact list of people that we work with to try and, once again, have them use our product, but then also to understand, their uses of our product, and then getting that information back. And then Bree will then take this information, as well as other research that she's doing in the marketplace, to come back to inform us, to inform my team and Betty's team in regards to what trends we're seeing in the market. So can it get better? Absolutely. I got to tell you, I mean, since Bree's been on board, who probably about 4 years now, is something. I mean, we're light years from where we were like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whenever Bree came on board, and we're continuing to get better. And I mean, she's really been a key leader with that. Also, Rachel Gare, who you guys might be aware of on social media. Bree and Rachel together do some tremendous trends information for us. In regards to the process, I mean, it's what we would say right now, guys, is in regards to getting in trends and then turning around and translating that into product. I would say right now, there's no one on this panel that would say that we're right now happy with where we're at with that, because we would love to be doing more. I mean, Betty is chomping the bit all the time to come out with new and different products. The plain hard truth of the matter is, it's been a difficult few years where we're trying to keep up with current demand, and we've talked about the challenges we've had from a resource perspective. We've had to focus so much on just getting our orders out. We haven't been able to put as much time as an effort and energy as we'd like to in regards to turning trends into new products. Is it important to us? Absolutely. Are we going to get there? Yes. We've got thoughts and plans in place in regards to how to get better at it. It's just been the last couple of years. It's been a challenge for us, like we've kind of been identifying.
Yeah. The other thing is, have we thought about it? Yes, we've had the QBN program now for about 30 years, and so we have had advisory boards in the past, which were focus groups, which basically we brought retailers in and worked with them for like 2-3 days on going over a variety of issues and really in depth. So we've done a lot of this. We may need to revise it and update it, but we are committed to the professional market, and I think we have, that's where our roots are. That's what brought us along, and so you guys are super, super important. And just know that, and when we organize things like CBAs, and if there are any new CBAs here tonight, congratulations. But this is about kind of identifying who also is capable, is interested in investing. You guys are all invested in yourselves by being here. That means a lot to us, and we appreciate it. We want to identify those ways we can capture it and move forward, yeah? Because there are also a lot of people that aren't as serious as you are out there, and they put stuff out too. Yeah.
Hold one second, get the mic.
So just less about the, my thought process was less about the trending items and more so about the disconnect between, I think, the company and the community, and assessing the needs of the community, and like what that process can look like. So identifying specific groups of people, or just like people in the community who consume your product, to really tell you how they feel about the product, what they need, and so on and so forth. It just feels like there's a disconnect there in communication. Especially like when we heard during COVID about the discontinuation of a bunch of colors. That was like a big shock to a lot of people, and just wondering how are these decisions being made if not being informed by, I think it's being informed by the purchases, but then the incentive to buy these products is having them in all the sizes, is like a variety of things. So it's like a skewed result, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's a very good comment.
Yeah,
One of
sure.
the things that we probably should do, and You know, we've got our marketing communications director right here in this room. Cindra has done an incredible job on this whole gathering. But on top of it, she also has the responsibility of being able to gather information like you just mentioned. And we've got to find better avenues of communication among us, because the only reason we have jobs is because of your support and your needs to run your own businesses. So we want to respond to you, and we got to find different channels of getting that feedback, because that's how we get better, and that's how we can do a better job of supporting you. So thank you. That's a very, very helpful comment. And Cindra, we got to look at how do we build. You know, this has been a great forum tonight. It's been fantastic for us. I hope it's been meaningful to you. But hold. We're not done. We're not done. I'm not closing. But we're going to work on that. And you know, please grab us, grab Cindra, and pass on your thoughts, because we've got to get better in that area. Now, I'd like to say one more question, because I want to congratulate the tables up front. They haven't had a chance to ask a question, and it's getting late. We promised to be done by 8:30, and it's 8:36. We'll stay longer if you need us to, but let's get at least this one question here.
Sherry Hatcher from Boise, Idaho. Okay, so back in the Q Corner convention, you guys talked about getting quick links in June, and now we're past June. What's the new target date?
For quick links?
Quick links.
We're making them.
Yeah, we just had a run.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we just actually finished a run in June on quick links.
Okay.
Yeah, so they should be shipping out. Those were done in June.
Okay, cool. The other question is, while I was doing my CBA this time, and I did pass,
Yay!
I was having problems with the foil, and it kept on ripping right by the valve. Is there any way we can put an extra layer so it won't rip as easily?
No, the foil. The foil balloon is ripping by the valve.
Shouldn't rip.
It shouldn't rip,
It shouldn't rip. We've made foil balloons for a long time, so we'll take a look at the samples.
Yeah, I mean, I've had not just the one I used at the CBA, but I've had several at home.
Okay,
that are
we
ripping at the, and it just rips all the way down, and then you can't use it.
Okay, so there may be, what Ted was talking about before is the film, the blocking. And so what you may be getting is you may be getting a little bit of sealing in that area, and then when it inflates, it pulls away and it tears.
No, we can't even get,
You can't get it in?
We can't get it in. And
So we'll look
we're-
at it.
We're trying to get it in, and then it rips.
So if you have some here, hunt us down and we'll take a look and we'll diagnose and figure out what's going on. That's not right.
Okay, so let's go. I see plenty of hands. So do you want us to go for another 5 minutes or so? Okay.
Let's
go ahead.
Lots of people need beauty sleep, yeah, like me, yeah. And we've got to tear this down and then rebuild it again, ready for the live broadcast first thing in the morning. So is it okay if we make this the last question? Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I come here from Guatemala, and it's almost the same question as the girl who was sitting there, because there's a lot of bad communication between Latin American people, and we have different territories. So we need, like you were telling, a lot of support to CBAs, QBN people.
Yeah.
I have two here, CBAs, but you said you have actually like 30 years with this QBN program, but in Latin America, they don't know anything about the CBA program or the QBN program.
Okay.
So there's a lot of disinformation about it. There's another programs that are taking care of it, but if you have to do a lot of things in Latin America so that people can grow with us, like the CBAs and the QBNs. So maybe in the States, you have done a really good job. They have like this, how do you call, like a QBN program, network. So in Latin America, they don't know anything about it. So maybe we do a lot of work there, but we need your support, and in the Latin American people here, Erica and Chris too. So
Gracias.
that's it.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I think, is that?
There was one other question.
So do you want Erica to answer that question? Let's get the mic, if you don't mind, Billy.
And I was going to ask about the influencers as well, if you guys keep in mind that we have a huge community, Latin community, that they speak only Spanish, and they do a great job, and they really want, show their work. So hopefully you guys have that in mind, that we need influencers that speak Spanish as well. But to answer Ingrid's my distributor in Guatemala. She does a great job over there promoting the brand. In Puerto Rico, we have another distributor that has monthly meetings with all the QBNs and CBAs. And for you, Ingrid, I think you start over doing a great job already talking to people, because we can't be sitting down waiting for them. We have to go out there and promote our brand and promote our QBN courses, because otherwise, they're not going to see it. And I think we start doing that now, especially with this event. We are starting doing lives and show to them what this is, because this is amazing. But we need to show to them, because if you were sitting here waiting, no, it's not going to happen. So I'm proud of whatever you're doing. Keep doing it, but there is still a long way to go. So we have to keep working hard every day. Again, we have 2 CBAs, QBN CBAs from Guatemala. I think that are more Latin people here, even if they live in here in the United States. We have created a page, Latinos con Qualitech, so feel free to follow us, okay? We have done a great job, promoted them. So again, these take one day at a time. And again, Latin America, we have many countries, so each country is different. So it's up to you. If you want to create a program, why not? Let's go create it. Because your program might be different in the United States, because we are different. The market is different. So feel free to have ideas and share with us, and we'll be more than willing to help you guys.
Thank you. So I'd like to add to that comment, because I think we have underserved 2 markets in particular that I feel responsible for, that we have done not a full job on. One is the Hispanic market, and the other is the African American market. And we're committed as a company to do a hell of a lot better job than we have done in the past. Now, if some of you were at GlobalCon 2 years ago, I guess it was 3 years ago now, I asked for help and say, how can we do a better job of reaching out to the Hispanic community? I didn't get any responses. Now, it's our responsibility to put it together. I understand that, but we need your feedback of how we can do a better job. GlobalCon coming up in September in Los Angeles has 90 applicants to take the CBA exam. That's fantastic. We need to reach out in a greater way to that community, and frankly to the African American community. The potential there is huge. We haven't found the right mechanisms. Help us. We're open. Our job is to serve you, and your feedback becomes our vehicle for doing a better job. Now, I want to entertain one more question, because some of the panelists haven't had dinner yet, and they're going to close down before we get our order in. So I'll entertain one last question. I'll let Billy choose.
Oh, great, thanks. Well, actually, there was one major question that I've heard from a lot of different people. Is WBC ever going to come back?
Oh, okay.
This is the last question.
Okay. Okay. Can I answer that on a very general kind of basis? We talked about changing times and changing needs. We've talked about products. We've talked about colors. But we also need to recognize that our marketing approaches also have to change and evolve with what's needed today and what's going to be needed tomorrow, not what worked yesterday or the day before yesterday. WBC was, great events. And maybe we should have another WBC style. But I got to tell you, I get so many warm feelings about this particular approach of making it an educational event, making it a give-back event at the same time. Now, I don't know where the answer is. I would like to think that we'll have a true worldwide event where we can bring the international community together and really celebrate together. What kind of form that should take? That's an open question. And again, we're open for feedback, suggestions, and whatnot. World Balloon Convention is a very, very expensive convention to put on, and let no one think that the registration that all of you paid to go, those of you that went to WBC, paid for that convention. No way. In fact, your registration fees are probably less than 50% of the total cost. Now, we're willing to do that so long as there's a payback. No different in your business. When you decide to advertise or to put out a campaign to bring new customers in, the only reason you're doing it is to get more business, because it has to have a payback. It's no different for any other company. Any expense has to have a payback. Whether that's the right vehicle, we're willing to do it if it is the right vehicle. But maybe we need to learn from this experience, and maybe in the next few months as we absorb what we've done here, that maybe we can design a world-class event that will be meaningful. And let me since I'm on the pulpit, one more comment, and that is, this is not a singular event. I said that the other day. I'll say it again. The value of this event is, what do we do with it, and how do we expand our reach? How do we expand our businesses? How do we do a better job delivering your needs? How do you do a better job of expanding your own business in your own area? And remember, we're the ambassadors. This was a limited event. We originally only had 300 openings. We increased it to 350 and said we can't handle any more than that for the kind of work that we're going to do. So as such, then we carry a responsibility for sharing with others what can be done differently and how we can really grow our industry in professionalism. Let me say thanks to all of you for staying for nearly 2 hours and joining in this. This has been stimulating for us. I hope it's been valuable for you as well. We're not leaving tonight. We'll still be here the next several days. Let's carry on conversations, and a great big thanks to all of you for really putting up with us. Thank you. Thank you.
Again, a huge thanks to you guys, a huge thanks to our panel for being so open, and you guys being so brutal. And a huge thanks to everybody that watched at home as well. You did type in some extra questions. We'll do our best to get them all answered for you.
And
Thank
big
you.
thanks to Q Corner for making this all happen. Woo!